Hi all, this is going to be a voiceover. It's currently my body care routine to help me with my injuries, so follow along. So I'm going to let you just watch the first one. Don't do this. Pop your ribs. Okay, so we're going to bring it back to neutral pelvis. We're going to think about our rib cage and our collarbone nice and long. Inhale, raise the arms to the ceiling. Exhale, reach the arms over by the hairline, keeping the abs connected. Inhale, lift back up to the ceiling, and exhale, float the arms back down to the floor. Exhale, reach, thinking about that core connection. Inhale, lift, and exhale, return. Good, we're going to do two more. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, reach. Inhale, and exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, and exhale, reach. Good. I say no farther than your hairline. Just feel that nice stretch under the lats. Perfect. Pressing lightly into the toning balls, imprinting the spine, and then let's bring the legs into tabletop here. We're going to alternate our heel taps. Now I like to tap with the heel to feel the glute connection. Also the legs feel a lot heavier. I'm telling you to watch the shoulders, make sure they don't round forward, keep the shoulders back and down. You're lightly pressing down into the toning balls to feel that lat activation. We're definitely focusing on our imprint and our abdominal connection here. And I'm going to allow to do 8 reps here. Just going to have you just alternate your heel tap. Make sure not to arch your back. You want to stay imprinted with the spine, only lowering the heel down the amount that you can stay stable in your abdominals and imprint it in your lumbar spine. So some of you might not tap your heel all the way to the floor. It depends on your strength and your stability. Keeping the collarbone nice and long. Don't round the shoulders forward. Excellent. And alternating your toe taps. Think about the abdominal connection and the breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And it's a slow tap down. The same amount of time down is the same amount of time up. You're not whipping your leg down and up. You're definitely not banging your heel to the floor. So these are just some simple toe taps to warm up your abdominals. We're going to do hip rolls now, keeping that collarbone nice and long. Inhale, you breathe in. Exhale, you roll through an imprint. Squeeze your glutes. Roll your hips off the mat into your bridge. Inhale, you stay. And exhale, you roll back down. We're going to do 3 more. Excellent. And then roll back down. I don't know if you can notice, one foot of mine is farther than the other, and I do have an injury right now. We'll talk about that later. So I need to make sure next time I do a hip roll, I'm either right at the edge of my mat or up against a wall. So I make sure that my legs are the same length. Don't hyperextend your back. Make sure to stay connected in the abdominals so you don't go too high, so that you're really working your glutes and then stretching your spine. Awesome job. So we're going to extend one leg and we're going to do a hip roll, but we're going to add a leg lift. Make sure not to drop the hip here. We're going to keep that hip lifted, and then we're going to roll slowly back down. Not a bridge, a hip roll. So we're going to do 4 on each side, rolling through an imprint, squeezing your glutes, rolling your hips off the mat into your bridge, keeping your hips nice and level, and then rolling back down. We're going to continue with 2 more. Keep the shoulders nice and long and press lightly through the arms so you feel your lat work. Just reminding you guys, this is not a stot Pilates exercise. These are just some of the home care exercises I'm doing for my injury. From lifting my dog, who's 14 and 65 pounds, I did get a back injury. So this is one of the physical therapy exercises, but I do like to put it into my body care routine. So we're going to switch our sides. We're going to do 4 on the other side, rolling through the imprint, squeezing your glutes, rolling your hips off the mat into your bridge, watching for your hip rotating on this side as well. And my leg's a little high. I would tell you to lift the leg to the height of the opposite thigh, and you're slowly lowering that leg down. Here for me, I'm trying to strengthen my hip flexor gradually because the injury did go from my back into my hip flexor. And then we're still doing a hip roll. It does work a lot of the unilateral work on the left side chain as you're rolling up, pressing through that left leg and slowly lowering that leg down. And you're working on your pelvis stability through that unilateral work as well. Good. Keeping the collarbone nice and long. And we'll do 4 of those. Perfect. Now here we're just going to bring our knees into our chest. I do open my legs because it sometimes is a little bit more comfortable for people who have back injuries to abduct the legs. So my legs are moving more in towards my shoulders. I always hold underneath my legs, never on top, because I don't want to put pressure on my kneecaps. Now I'm going to cross like a 4 here and gently bring my legs in. Notice I started from the floor, did the cross, and then drew my legs in. You want to wait 30 to 90 seconds for your stretches. Today in this video, I did wait 30 seconds. So you can go ahead and stretch. If you need to pause the video so you can stretch longer, that will work also. Okay, so I did have a clock right above me and I timed it, and they all should be around 30 seconds. Now from here, I'm just going to gently take my right foot a little deeper into the hip socket crease, and I'm going to gently wrap my hands around the outside of my knee and lightly pull in. Notice you don't want to drop the opposite leg or roll to the side. You want to keep nice and neutral here when you do this, and draw the knee in gently towards the opposite corner chest. 30 to 90 seconds again with this stretch, although today it's 30. Keep the shoulders nice and long, and you should feel this running down the back of the thigh, more where the hamstrings and glutes connect, and maybe a little in the piriformis. Okay, so we're going to cross like a 4 again and draw the knees into the chest. Again, I crossed from the floor. I think it is a softer way to go into this stretch. Then draw in. Make sure not to rotate at the pelvis. Good. Keep those legs. Watch for arching the neck. If you need a pillow behind your head, you can do that. I just propped my head up by lengthening the back of my neck here. And we're waiting 30 to 90 seconds. You can always do ankle rotations during a stretch like this, so you get some ankle mobility and blood moving all the way up and down the chain of the leg. Here you can really see how I drew that leg down into the crease of my thigh, and now I'm going to lightly, just lightly, I'm not going to tug and pull and grab underneath. I'm going to lightly pull. Now I'm not on the top of the kneecap, I'm around the side of the knee. So I'm not actually putting direct pressure on the kneecap, I'm just gently drawing the thigh over to my opposite shoulder. So I call the first one a figure 4 stretch, and I call this more of a triangle stretch. It's nice and relaxing, and remember to keep your spine in neutral and wait your 30 to 90 seconds. Next is sink and engage. Sink into your shoulder girdle and then engage upward and out of it to a neutral shoulder. You can hold your head if it gets tired from being in this lateral position. Our hips are down here. We are not in a side bridge. We are just sinking into the shoulder and then engaging the muscles to come up into a centrated shoulder neutral. Yes, now we're adding in some thoracic rotation, and we're going to try to stay centrated in that shoulder. So it's really important that the shoulder is in a good position before you go into side bridge. A lot of clients complain about their shoulders hurting during side bridge. There I'm telling you that make sure don't move from your elbow joint, move from your thoracic region, right behind where the bra strap would be connecting. So here after this stretch, I'm doing a little mermaid, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about this movement as we go to the other side. So the focus on this exercise is to sink into the shoulder and then centrate it and draw it up. Use the muscles under the lats and through the scapula to help support this move. Make sure your head stays lateral and it isn't turning upward towards the ceiling as I'm about to show. So you want to keep that nice long line. We don't want the head all the way up or down for that matter. We want it nice and neutral. And believe me, this exercise is a lot harder than it looks. I would recommend 4 reps, and you can always hold your head if your neck gets tired in this lateral position. Now we're doing that thoracic rotation again. I started adding this in for myself to strengthen shoulder and scapula, and also my clients, because a lot of people complain about shoulder pain when they are inside bridging. So it's really important that the shoulder is neutral before you try to lift your hips off the mat. This exercise is actually really challenging, and make sure then you stretch away from the movement after you've completed it. This next exercise is more of a traditional warm-up Pilates movement with rotation. So we're going to side lie, slightly bend the knees in front like a chair, and then get a nice neutral head position. On an inhale, you're going to open your arm up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, you're going to rotate all the way towards the floor. We're going to make sure that we don't roll off of our hip and lie on our back here. We're going to make sure that the neck is following the line of that reaching. Here, my arm is bent, just getting a little pec stretch. It's just comfortable for me to do it that way. And then I'm trying to open from the thoracic region to rotate to stretch out the chest. And then we'll do the other side, as you can see. Making sure that we don't rest our face to our arm and that we don't lie in a fetal position. We keep our bottom ribs lifted off the mat. And since there is so much to talk about in this video, I would recommend you watch it a couple times and just keep listening to what I'm cueing until you feel you've gotten into the right position for each exercise. And exhale as you rotate open. Inhale as you drop back, and exhale as you fold your arm in front. This is a Pilates fusion exercise, and I'm just gonna do a quasi walkout because I couldn't get my body in the whole frame. We're gonna do a downward facing dog, squeezing that fitness circle, really pressing those heels to the ground. If your back rounds, I would recommend you bend your knees to keep a nice flat back and press your heels. Then I'm gonna go into a rounded U-shaped kind of feel, and I'm gonna articulate my spine to neutral at the end, and then I'm going to press back. So I'm going to use my abdominals to curl my spine like an elephant shape on the reformer, and then articulate my spine to neutral and then press back. Still squeezing that fitness circle. This does help limber me up. It uses my glutes as I extend my body towards the plank, and then I press back through my lats. Draw in through the abdominals, then neutral as you're articulating your spine one vertebrae at a time, and then pressing back. You could do as many of these as you would like, depending on your wrist comfort. I'll do 8 when I'm at home. For this video, I did 4. This next exercise would be along the lines of a yoga fusion. I'm going to do a version of what I call an upward facing dog and then engage the abdominals to come back to a plank position. Again, letting my body kind of sink down, fall down into a nice open shoulder position. This personally has been helping my back. Again, if you really like the Pilates exercises, you might not want to do this one in your routine, but personally, this has been helping me with my posture and my shoulder girdle, and I feel my abs at the end. Then dropping to the knees, taking out the fitness circle, and then going into your traditional shell stretch. I also will do shell stretch and then slide down, opening my knees into a more of a child pose resting position. And then I'll draw my body back into my shell, rounded U-shaped curled position where my abdominals are scooped out. Then I'm going to slide back down. I'm going to really reach and grip my fingers away from me. So I'm stretching out through my lats. And then I'm going to round again. And then slide it down. I've been having clients do anywhere from 4 to 8 of these at home as well. I'm looking up at my hands just to show you that I'm gripping the floor, but don't extend your neck in this position. Let your head fall to the floor. And then when you're ready, you can roll out of it and articulate it up to neutral. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'd watch this a couple of times and add what you feel is right for your workout routine.